Hey y'all, what's up? It's your boy Evan. Welcome to the cartoon block. Today I'm going to show you how I sketch Wolverine. Let's go ahead and get started. So starting out, I like to go ahead and begin with an oval, almost egg shape for the basic male head, making sure I draw the vertical center line down the middle of the face. So all my features will be, kind of symmetrical. You don't want your figure to look too off. And then put in the horizontal lines for the eye line, the nose, and the mouth line. And then go ahead and flesh in the outer contours of his head, with the jawline, put in the ears, which rest between the guideline of the eyes and the nose line. And then Wolverine has that slick back wild hair. So that's his signature style, his signature look. And then of course loosely sketch in his hairline over here on the side. And if you're not quite sure how he looks, pull up some reference for Logan. And not the Hugh Jackman films, maybe. So I was never crazy about those films. They weren't the best, and so I always thought that Wolverine should have been someone that was more rugged, someone that was a little bit ugly. But then again, it's Hollywood. Who wants to see ugly people on the screen? So they had to find a good-looking leading man who could still be a tough guy. But in my opinion, they never quite got his hair right. They came close, but no cigar. So focusing here on his eyebrows and his eyes, we want to go ahead and make sure that we keep him looking at us or in our general direction. And I'm giving his eyes these like simplified triangular type of shape, and making sure when he's angry, you want to make his eyebrows touch the actual eye themselves. And we want to go ahead and darken in his pupils here, and darken in the outer edge of his forehead, and add some wrinkles between his eyes just above his nose, and then put in a simplified nose, just one nostril on this side, and making sure that we do stay firm on that guideline that we had earlier. You don't want to draw your facial features too far out of whack away from their guidelines. And just pull up some reference. You can look at reference online to see how other comic book artists drew him, and look at some photos of actual real men who might be kind of hairy, and just see how their faces look. Maybe you can take the hair from one guy, whatever picture you find, and combine that with the actual grim looking face of another model online, and just add it together. There is no right or wrong way to go ahead and start drawing your characters. Look at all kind of reference that you need, because that's what comic book artists do. They look at the reference that they need, but then they take that reference and tweak it to fit the story and to fit the character that they're drawing. So they always have reference handy. And we live in a good time right now where reference is readily available. It's all in the palm of our hands, so we don't have to go to the library and look up books and things of that nature. So we can just pull out our phones. We have access to, infinite amount of reference. And here I want to put in the sides of Logan's. I wasn't quite sure, are these his sideburns or is it his beard? It's like half and half. So his side beard, then let's just call it that. And now defining his hair a little bit more, making sure it kind of like conforms somewhat to his skull, but not too flat. You do want it to kind of like lift up a little bit. And we can, once I get my camera straight, we can now go ahead and focus on his neck and his trapezius muscle off to the side or near his back. So now we can start fleshing out his neck down here and his chest. His chest is receding away from us, so that's a little bit of foreshortening there. Let me go ahead and fill in some more of his side beard over here, and it kind of just evens out the drawing a little bit more. And then tweak some of his neck some more, and then darken in his beard wherever I need to be. When I sketch, I tend to go all over the place. I don't just stay in one area and just fine tune that area, and I highly encourage you to do the same thing. Go all over your drawing. And then bring his neck muscle down here. It meets down here to his clavicle bone. And put in some more bags under his eyes. But when you go all over your drawing, you're seeing how everything comes together. Because if you focus on one area of your drawing, especially on faces, and then you continue on to the other part of the face, you might see some mistakes. And then you'll be kicking yourself because, wait a minute, I just spent like 10 minutes drawing that one eye, and then the other eye is like off. And then realizing, oh man, I gotta change the first eye, but I spent 10 minutes working on it. So it's best to go ahead and do a rough sketch of everything all over, and then go back and fine tune and solidify your drawing with darker lines. Now here I'm using my cool gray number 3 copic marker after using my blue Prismacolor pencil. So I want to use the cool gray to kind of just add some rendering all over the drawing. And this had this kind of cool effect that happened when I did it, and I didn't know this was going to happen. The cool gray marker, it actually smeared the soft blue lead of the Prismacolor pencil. As I mentioned in a previous video before, this is that serendipity, happy accidents. You didn't know what something was going to happen, but it was a good accident. I think that was how popcorn was invented. I could be wrong, but I think that's how it was, you know. Somebody had some kernels near some fire, and there you go, popcorn. And just adding in some more shading. So basically, I'm not even coloring with the gray marker. I'm kind of just, it's slight coloring, ever so slightly. But for the most part, especially around his hair, I'm kind of like smearing the lead. And I highly encourage you to use your tools and your supplies, mix them, combine them. Some stuff will look ugly. Some stuff might turn out pretty cool, but you never know until you try it. I met someone who he was inking with a stick, a little small twig that he has found in his yard. He took that twig and just brought it to his work area and started just dipping it in ink and then started drawing with it, and he did some pretty cool stuff with it. So you never know what tools, what kind of effect you will get with certain tools. So I highly encourage you to just play around with stuff. Yeah, some of it may come out ugly, but hey, some stuff will come out looking pretty cool. So you never know what's going to turn out or how it will look until you try. And then moving on with my darker copic markers, going to the C5 and then now the C4. I kind of just look and see what, how dark I want to get, underneath his chin and his chest as it's receding from us. So I know I do want more values in his hair, keeping that shine and marking my marker strokes down in the same direction as I started with the pencils. I know I definitely do want to keep that shine and then have a few loose hairs, drawn out with the markers, kind of fill it in. There's no need for me to pull out the pencil again. That's pretty much done. If I need to add some more strokes in there, I can do it with the actual markers. Now I like to use my Copic multi-liners here. I like these a lot because then I can go ahead and fine tune and just define more of his facial features a little bit more, so it's not so ambiguous when you're looking at it. I don't have to use this, well, it's not necessary to use it for the whole drawing, but in certain areas you want to go ahead and just define it more, the features. So when your audience is looking at it, their eye is drawn to those darker parts. And we're drawn to people's faces. That's what we see. That's why the face is so important. You want to make sure you have that be the focal point of your portraits and your sketches of characters. And then going back to my C3 here, I want to add a little bit more rendering and shading around the edges, underneath the bags under his eyes, or the wrinkles rather under his eyes. And just focus more on just kind of cleaning up the drawing. Now just using my C3, I want to go ahead and start putting in some background lines just for atmosphere. You don't want to leave your figure just blank on a white page. Go ahead and add in a few, like, just background render marks. I won't fill this entire thing in. I just want to put it in, kind of have a diagonal motif going on. Since he's leaning across the page, I want to have this diagonal kind of motif go across the page as well. So from the upper right corner to the lower left corner. And then kind of just darken in certain parts here. And I might even add a shadow on the side of his nose to kind of just make him just be in more shadow. Because Wolverine will look, just more menacing and threatening if you don't see his entire face just well lit up. He's not like Superman, where he's like the hero who's come to save the day. That's not Wolverine. And now I want to use my Uniball Signal white gel pen to go ahead and add in to pull out certain whites. And this is a cool trick I learned from another artist, where once you're drawing your figure or whatever your subject is, and you're on white paper, you can go ahead and pull out certain whites, certain highlights. And then we're going to give him his stubble because he doesn't shave every day. And then add in a few white stubble marks to show that there is some light hitting them, there is some shine to that hair on his chin. And I'm darkening his eyebrows up here above, and then adding a few shines on his eyebrows. Want to be careful not to give him too much white because they might look like gray hairs. Although on Wolverine that wouldn't be bad because he is like, I'm like, but I think he's been around since the Civil War. That's his origin. So he's at least a century old. We know that. And I want to add a little bit more shadow on the side of his nose right here. After stepping back and looking at it, he needs more just depth to his face. And the marker kind of made that blue pencil a little bit too dark. So there you have it. That's Wolverine, aka Logan. Thanks for watching. And if you're still having a hard time coming up with your own superhero body, then click the link below in the description and get my free superhero mini course. Get started right now. Don't wait.